On our 7th wedding anniversary, I found a stack of plane tickets at home, all for the same destination. My wife, who's on a business trip abroad, posted a new plane ticket on her secret social media account. Is marriage just a shackle? Only when I'm with him can I truly be a child again. I gave a cold smile and canceled all her credit cards. The next morning, I checked my phone, and there were 99 plus calls and texts. My wife was freaking out. Honey, tomorrow is my promotion event. My card's not working, and I can't buy the ticket. What am I going to do? I replied, does someone who wants to be a child need shackles? 7 years married, and she's on a business trip again. Lucy and I have been married for 7 years. We met through a blind date. The timing and personalities were right, so we naturally got together. Lucy works for a financial company, and I run my own media company, earning decently. Our marriage is surprisingly harmonious. We rarely argue over life's trivial matters. I'm a career-driven guy, but not so much of a traditional man's man. I understand the importance of having some ceremony in marriage. This year, for our anniversary, I asked a designer friend to craft a custom blue diamond necklace. Lucy loves blue, and it would go perfectly with her navy evening dress. But the day before our anniversary, she called me. There was hesitation in her voice. Honey, I have to travel for work on our anniversary, and we can't celebrate together. You should cancel the restaurant reservation. Her words left me feeling disappointed. This is the 5th year in a row we can't celebrate our anniversary together. It's strange. Every year around this time, Lucy gets a work trip notification, and I have to cancel all our plans. This time, I should have just been reasonable like before, understanding her commitment to her career. But then, I got a call from an old friend. He's the owner of Lucy's company, and I was the one who introduced her there. He happily shared his upcoming wedding news and invited us to his engagement party. I was taken aback. Lucy's supposed to be on a work trip abroad. How can we attend? My friend seemed even more confused. What work trip? Have you got marriage brain fried or something? For overseas projects, I usually handle them personally. You know my company, right? His words left me frozen. I didn't immediately confront Lucy. I believe in maintaining relationships in uniquely constructive ways. Confrontation might risk breaking our bond. So, I put aside my doubts, called the restaurant to cancel, and went to put the custom necklace in the closet as a surprise for Lucy. But instead, I stumbled upon an even bigger surprise. In the corner of the wardrobe drawer where Lucy keeps her jewelry, there was an unassuming wooden box. I always thought it was for her jewelry, never touched it. Today, as it accidentally fell, out came a bunch of old plane ticket stubs. I was dumbfounded. Lucy travels a lot, but I never knew she had a hobby of keeping ticket stubs. I picked them up, and the information on the tickets caught my eye. My brain couldn't process. Most of the tickets were dated on holidays. Valentine's Day, Labor Day, National Day, Chishi Festival, Spring Festival, etc. And every year on August 5th, like clockwork, she flew to the same place, France. August 5th is our wedding anniversary. In recent years, due to business needs, I rarely worked from home. The home office computer was mainly used by Lucy. As I expected, the computer had a password. I called Lucy, making up a story that I needed to use the computer for work. She hesitated but remained her usual sweet self, refusing to give me the password. Why are you working right now? I've told you to not stay up late. Just leave work for tomorrow at your office. I'm about to board a plane. Talk later. Okay? Get some rest. She hung up before I could respond. Normally, her sweet concern would have convinced me to relax and head to bed. But today, the unusual scent in the office distracted me. I have a severe allergy to scents. There's never been a whiff of perfume or fragrance in the house. Yet now, on the windowsill, stood an unfamiliar European brand scent diffuser. Lucy's favorite citrus scent. The diffuser's tag hadn't been removed. It had a handwritten signature. Johnny. Seeing that name made my heart skip a beat. It was too familiar. At our wedding, a gift box with that English name made Lucy cry instantly. She explained then it was a wedding gift from a dear friend abroad. Today, the passionate handwriting on the tag made everything clear. Perhaps what moved Lucy to tears at our wedding wasn't just friendship. Everything unusual today urged me to find the truth. Being an engineer, cracking a screen lock password isn't difficult for me. The moment the computer booted up, the wallpaper froze me in place. A photo of two people. I remembered Lucy back when she had a bit of baby fat, with eyes full of life and innocence, smiling brightly at the camera. The other person, a handsome young man. They were both posed perfectly for the camera, wearing matching couples' tees and rings. Even the photo template had a big love written on it. When Lucy and I were dating, we talked about past relationships. After I openly shared mine, she earnestly told me she had nothing worth remembering. That answer, in hindsight, was absurd. She might not have had a memorable love, but she certainly had someone memorable. I never thought that stumbling upon a pile of plane tickets would lead to so many maddening things. My wife's computer was overflowing with information I had no idea about. Every day, when she claimed she was too busy, she was actually spending time with some mysterious guy named Johnny. It wasn't just about a few plane tickets. There were dinners, hand-holding, kisses, and hugs. Everything couples do, regardless of what should or shouldn't be done, was captured by a warm lens. She even made a special album for their sweet memories, called True Love. I stared at the computer screen, lost in thought, when a pop-up window caught my attention. It seemed like I hadn't properly logged out of the social media account last time I shut down her computer in a rush. Driven by an inexplicable urge, I clicked in. Her couple's account, with nearly 100,000 followers, appeared before my eyes. I always knew Lucy loved being online and that she carefully managed her social media accounts, occasionally doing some promotions. Lucy's online persona was a pampered, wealthy woman. In her words, "These days you draw sympathy online by hitting people's pain points. Flaunting wealth gets you hate, but flaunting wealth sweetly is envy-worthy." Because of this, our home was filled with luxury items she claimed were for showcasing our sweet love. I never interfered with Lucy buying luxury stuff to take photos and show off. On one hand, we truly had the financial means. On the other, I was happy that Lucy could use the financial support to do something she liked. But I never imagined her data is good account was a couple's account that had nothing to do with me. Her account's only follow was an art account from abroad. A man and a woman, a rich lady and an artist. They followed each other and claimed they were a couple separated across continents for unavoidable reasons and could only meet during major holidays. The latest picture she posted was of a plane ticket on the day of our wedding anniversary. The caption said, "Marriage is just a shackle. As long as I'm by his side, I can truly feel like a child again." My heart turned cold inch by inch. I asked myself if I had ever mistreated Lucy over our 7-year marriage. I never expected my unconditional trust and indulgence would turn into betrayal. The person for whom she traveled abroad over a dozen times a year was the one who made her feel like a kid again. What did those 7 years mean? What did I mean? That evening, I received a bill from abroad. Hilton Hotel, French restaurants, luxury cruises. I never asked about Lucy's bills, thinking she was always so busy at work, that she deserved to enjoy herself when she rarely had time to travel abroad. Perhaps because of this, Lucy didn't bother hiding the bills from me. Her messages were as reasonable as ever. "Honey, I've arrived at the hotel. It's been a long journey, so to have a good rest for tomorrow, I plan to try the cruise and have dinner with my colleague. Since they came with me, it's only right to treat them. Besides, we can afford it." If I hadn't seen the True Love album on her computer, I'd have believed her words. It's quite laughable to think that all these years I've been supporting two people in this marriage. It didn't take me long to find out about Johnny. My friends were surprised when I asked about him. "A designer with a criminal record? Why are you asking about him? He used to be popular online with his designs and face, but then he was caught plagiarizing. You know how the design industry hates plagiarism. After that, he couldn't stay in our domestic circles. I heard someone sponsored him to study abroad or something and he went to France." Listening to this, my brow furrowed anxiously. Something felt really off. I grabbed my friend's arm and asked what kind of design the man was doing. He gave me a confused look. "Interior design, man. When I was decorating my new house, your wife recommended him to me." But knowing too much about the industry's issues, I reminded her not to give money to someone of bad character. My complex feelings were instantly overshadowed by anger. I jumped up to call my assistant, telling him to find the contracts related to our house renovation. Startled by my icy tone, he worked fast. The moment I saw the contractor's name on the contract, I laughed bitterly. I trusted this marriage too much, trusted the person who promised to be with me for life too much. Back when I hired someone for our house design, Lucy kept picking faults. In the end, I grudgingly went with the rising star designer she recommended. Turns out I had already met Johnny. He had even called me brother-in-law right in front of my wife. I had confidently told friends and family at the wedding that I'd fulfill any request from Lucy, arranging everything in our marriage to suit her preferences. What an ominous prediction. Everything was indeed arranged to her liking. I even arranged her lover. Wasn't that considerate? My parents had an unhappy marriage, and I suffered a lot from their conflicts as a child. Perhaps that's why I was so devoted to the idea of marriage today. Marrying Lucy, I genuinely wanted to spend a lifetime with her. This ugly truth, unveiled by the surprise I planned for our anniversary, left me ensnared in an unprecedented state of confusion. I used a second account to follow the couple's profile she'd been running, masochistically watching records of her enjoying freedom outside of marriage. Our first wedding anniversary, she went with him to the Louvre, running and cheering by the fountain. Our second, they visited Korea's Namsan Tower, leaving a love lock symbolizing fidelity. On our third anniversary, they went to Italy to gather inspiration, with him painting on a lawn and her sweetly smiling behind him. Fourth year, Germany. Fifth year, Australia. Sixth year, this year, she landed in Iceland, inside a warm wooden cabin gazing at the fairy tale-like scenery outside, sleeping in his embrace. The comments section was serene and beautiful, as if thousands were admiring and yearning for a love isolated from the earthly world. Some fans even pointed out issues Lucy might not want to face head-on in the comments. When are your sister and brother-in-law planning to get married? You guys have money and free time, what are you waiting for? Having money and free time is such a wonderful way to describe someone. But there's no such thing as a perfect world. If someone is enjoying the good life, someone else must be dealing with the pressure. So here's the dilemma. Why should I bear the burden of their love story? When it comes to dealing with betrayal, I'm not one to quietly suffer. I had no intention of going soft on the potential freeloader who's been a kept man for 7 years in my marriage. I immediately called the lawyer and asked him to draft a lawsuit. I also told my assistant to find that renovation contract. Not just to confirm Johnny's identity, but to pin the cheating on him and hold this so-called up-and-coming designer accountable. How does the saying go, old habits die hard? Maybe his lover was covering for him, or maybe it was his own schemes. But Johnny had the nerve to rip off someone else's designs for an interior project. I'm no expert in design, but I've seen my fair share of blueprints. When I saw my house looking exactly like something out of a magazine, I thought my wife got lucky finding some design guru to redo our place. But then, in my spare time, I looked it up and, surprise, our house was an exact match with that of some finance mogul. Using a designer's private work, it's minorly laughable, but majorly a scandal in design circles. Our home ended up looking just like a financial titan's place. Where does that leave the designer's reputation? Doesn't it make them look like fools for spending millions on a supposedly one-of-a-kind plan? While I was busy working out the lawsuit details with my lawyer, my wife's social feed updated with a new lavish pic. Captioned, "Went shopping for bags with him today. Finally found something just right. Went ahead and bought it all. He always says I spend too much, but little does he know, spending on someone you love is truly a blessing." She doesn't know, spending for the one you love is a blessing, indeed. But when that blessing runs dry, it's bound to bring trouble. For the next 3 days, I didn't make any effort to call Lucy. She only realized something was off at the end of her trip and called me, checking in and whatnot. I was busy working and remained pretty calm. Who knew a couple of laid-back comments from me would earn her complaints? "Peter, you called me just once on my first day away to check if I was even alive. I try to check on you and now I'm the bad guy, right? Do you even care about your wife?" Sometimes being married to you is really painful, you know? All you know is how to earn money, what else can you do? My hand paused on my coffee cup, lost for words really. The one happily spending money is now mad at the one earning it? When I didn't say anything for a while, her tone got harsher. Oh right, before we got married I mentioned the monthly $80,000 we're sending my parents for their retirement. I talked to them yesterday, so make sure you transfer it soon. Don't keep them waiting. I coached my voice lower and let my displeasure show. My company is going through major issues right now. Starting this month, there won't be a monthly $80,000 anymore. If you can scrape together enough for them, go ahead. After all, they're your parents, you'd want them to have money, right? Upon hearing this, Lucy was clearly shocked. Her voice went sharp and loud. Wait, what do you mean your company has major issues? So big you can't even send $80,000? Don't you have investment funds? Cash them out. My parents are planning to help my brother buy a house. I, as the older sister, should contribute. Don't mess this up and upset them. Remember how you begged them to marry their daughter to you. I cleared my throat to cut her off and spoke again, this time interrupting her rant. Lucy, I've made things clear. There won't be $80,000 anymore. Supporting your parents and helping your brother is your responsibility. Don't drag me into it. I've always gone by the motto of no big issues in marriage, and turned a blind eye to the leeching from your family. She'd never heard me talk so directly before. It stunned her into silence. She couldn't believe and asked, Peter, are you trying to settle accounts with me? I calmly said, this is called setting boundaries, not settling scores. If we talk about settling scores, your parents and brother have taken varying sums of money from me over time, thousands to tens of thousands. For your sake, I never denied them. Don't say I didn't help with your brother's house. He should have enough from me by now. And your parents? I heard they built a villa back home. Where do you think the money came from? Their $1,500 monthly pension? My questions left Lucy speechless, and she reluctantly hung up with a "we'll talk when I get back." Seeing Johnny's social media post from 15 minutes ago, showing off a new bag, I let out a cold laugh. I called the bank and canceled my wife's credit card. Who's waiting for you to come back? Before you even return, I'm putting an end to this mess. As I expected, the following morning, my phone was flooded with texts and calls. Every call from a random friend or distant relative came with worried advice. Peter, your wife's having trouble with her card, and now she can't get back home. Fix it quickly. The funny part? Everyone's concerned about her situation, but nobody steps up to help Lucy over this measly plane ticket. I deliberately picked up Lucy's panic calls from overseas only after finishing breakfast. Her stern attitude from last night had softened considerably, sounding almost pitiful. Darling, tomorrow's my promotion party. I can't use my card, can't buy my ticket, what am I gonna do? You need to call the bank or send me some money. I absolutely must get back today. I wasn't moved by her frantic tone. Facing such a big betrayal in my life, who should really be on the verge of breakdown here? This morning, some juicy gossip comparing the decor of my house to that of a famous business mogul was all over the internet. The lively online debates were blowing up the comments section. Johnny getting a lawsuit notice is just a matter of time, and I stopped pretending to be the understanding husband in front of my wife. I decided to come clean with her. I mean, if you're acting like a child, why hold on to shackles? After I said that, the other end of the call went dead silent. I soaked up the silence and then added more. Yes, I saw the plane tickets. The computer screensaver is nice, but I didn't finish flipping through the album. It might piss me off. I'm done. Anything you'd like to say? Lucy realized from my tone that things were beyond fixing. After thinking it over, she started. Peter, I've told you before, trust is the most important thing in a marriage. Just because I didn't spend every holiday or anniversary with you, you treat me like this? You're my husband, and Johnny is my soulmate. Why can't you see there's no conflict? Cutting off my cards, stopping supporting my parents, helping my brother, that's crossing the line. I was floored by her audacity, too tired to argue. Instead of wasting time here, why not find someone to lend you money for that flight back home? Otherwise, you and your true love are about to become a sensation. Lucy probably called to get me to restore her financial privilege because she spends a lot abroad. Plus, there's a waiting list for a bag order needing arrangements. She didn't expect things to blow up like this. We were married once, and I didn't plan to go this far. But I hate that she gave me nothing but dishonesty in our marriage. There was no promotion event. It's not like she's down and out to the extent she can't afford a flight ticket. She's not traveling alone this time anyway. It's her and Johnny, who's trying to make a comeback with a design competition spot. She's telling everyone I've cut her off, leaving her no tickets home. But it didn't affect my reputation. Instead, it outed her affair. She barely scraped together money for 2 flights from Iceland, only to be mobbed by gossip reporters upon landing. Most weren't interested in her drama but the infamous plagiarist beside her. They had piercing questions for Johnny. Mr. Johnny, what's your take on designer Ken's accusation of plagiarism against you? How do you plan to handle the lawsuit? Why did you steal others' designs for regular projects? With a history of plagiarism, how do you justify entering a design contest under a different name? Is this lady your sponsor or lover? Lucy, witnessing such a spectacle for the first time, turned pale. She struggled through the crowd, while the lover she often praised was not as tender, pulling her and demanding how this mess happened. Lucy, unsteady, kept calling me. I ignored it. Meanwhile, I told my lawyer to ensure Johnny never makes a comeback in the design world. The lawyer chuckled confidently and assured me, "Don't worry, sir. Even if we back off, they won't." After all, the old man spent millions for his daughter's wedding designs to see them casually copied. No way they're swallowing that insult. If anything, it's your wife who should be alert. Johnny can't afford litigation or compensation, relying on a woman to cover even his airfare. I chuckled nonchalantly. Her issues are not my problem anymore. She sees me as just another money-making fool. My days of being a sucker are over. When I sent Lucy the divorce papers, she was swamped dealing with Johnny's mess. Frustrated by all those rejections when trying to seek help, she stormed into my office to unleash her temper. A coffee cup flying at me stained my white shirt. The woman before me, full of rage, wasn't the same confident person from 2 weeks prior. She glared at me as if I was some notorious villain. "Peter, we were married. I didn't expect you to be so despicable. We've been together 7 years. I occasionally left the country to catch up with old friends. And you blow it up, ruining my and Johnny's reputation. You're retaliating against him over decor from ages ago, dragging other families into it. Your methods are low." I wasn't surprised by her blaming tactics. Her accusations amused me more than anything. "You're talking like I forced you or Johnny into anything. Have you forgotten your social media parade? Did I frame you? Wasn't it you who cheated? Did I make Johnny plagiarize? Get a grip, lady. You're not my wife, but my soon-to-be ex-wife. And you think I owe you face? Storming in here throwing tantrums? Disappear, and remember, Johnny's plagiarism is on him. Staying out of it won't drag you down. But loyalty's fine if you're set on it. Instead of wasting time here, try smoothing relations. Help your buddy out of some compensation troubles. Considering he depends on you and I won't be footing your bills anymore, who do you think suffers?" My words shut her up until security had to remove her. Only then did her domineering attitude vanish, replaced by a cautious question. "Honey, over such a small issue you're really divorcing me? No nostalgia for our past?" I gave her a distant but polite smile. "Let's get something straight. The day I decided to get a divorce was the day I stopped feeling anything for you. To be honest, our old feelings were already dead once I found that pile of ticket stubs." I looked her in the eyes, serious and slow. "Lucy, there was something between us, but you decided to let it go. The other person we were dealing with was untouchable. If I tried to mess with them, I'd just have to admit defeat. Plus, in our industry, everyone knew Lucy was a total beginner and Johnny had a terrible reputation. When those two clashed, it was like King Kong meeting Godzilla. They didn't stand a chance. I didn't follow the aftermath of the lawsuit, but friends kept me updated, laughing about it. They said Johnny broke down in court when he heard about the $1 million compensation he owed. Lucy tried hard to defend him, but it didn't change a thing. Here's the kicker. That couple acted all lovey-dovey in court, but once outside, They had a nasty fight on the street. Lucy slapped Johnny, and he hit back hard. Someone caught it on their phone and it blew up online, sparking quite the debate. Johnny's chance at a comeback disappeared for good. Lucy was blindsided too. All she did was say they couldn't afford to pay, and her artist boyfriend flipped out. She sat on the ground, shouting and crying, barely a shadow of her once glamorous self, just a woman beaten down by life. I thought seeing karma in action would feel good, but it didn't. I felt kinda sorry. Still, don't get me wrong. I'm not some saint wishing for a happy ending for everyone. Behind the scenes, I was all in on making sure the design theft was prosecuted to the fullest. Letting others off the hook is like setting a trap for yourself. I've learned that the hard way and won't do it again. This time, I should have been my typical rational self, backing her ambition. But her prized social media account went silent for over a month. Folks started clamoring for updates in the comments. Hey, what happened to the blogger? Did she really get hitched? Feels like forever since the last post. The hubby hasn't posted either. I was hoping he'd share his designer insights on that hot legal case going down in China. Hey, sis is loaded. She must feel for anyone who's had their unique design stolen. If it were me, I'd be furious. Anyway, when are they coming back? Without their rich and in love posts, I can't eat or sleep right. These gossip fiends don't seem to get the half-baked nature of what they read online. That couple they keep affectionately mentioning isn't coming back anytime soon. One's off the radar and the other's bedridden. I only heard from mutual friends much later. Lucy refused to help Johnny with the fines. Fed up, Johnny dragged her to bars to make money by entertaining guests. She, who had always been proud, could not endure such humiliation. One day, she snapped and hit a big shot over the head with a bottle. That incident made headlines. Johnny already had a bad rep, and Lucy's gold-digging family wasn't any better. They all fought about who should pay up, and during the scuffle outside the police station, Lucy's own brother shoved her. She hit her head when she fell and ended up in intensive care. Her family managed to squeeze money out of Johnny through all of this. Once the cash was in, they dropped the charges, not really caring about Lucy's fate. My friend shared the update with me carefully, worried it'd upset me. But I just smiled calmly. Sure, our 7-year marriage didn't end pretty, but deep down, I know. I didn't mess up in that relationship. I never treated Lucy unfairly. I could have taken her to task during the divorce, but I didn't. I have a clear conscience. Why should I let something that's not my fault weigh me down? I need to keep hustling, chasing my career, and still hold on to my faith in love. The future is long. Let's see where it takes us.